The album by BLACKPINK.
It's a drop.
A drop, yeah.
8 songs, 24
minutes.
So
BLACKPINK are part of the YG group, which, not to be confused with our favorite cheating dude YG, YG. It's the Korean pop giant YG Entertainment that own a lot of
Big
Korean,
Bang, a whole bunch of
K-pop bands and stuff.
Quick primer on K-pop. Much as it is in America, although there it's just a lot more kind of like obvious. There are large companies that run the bands essentially, and they heavily stylize them and fit their image for public. So like,
and some of them are formed by the groups and stuff as well. So,
yeah,
but we've gone into we've talked about that before. But anyways, going into BLACKPINK, so they're a K-pop group, but they also do part of their songs in English and part of their songs in Korean, and they have other guests and stuff because they're pretty popular. Well, not all female group, which is always great.
Yeah, whereas the easy comparison here is like BTS, all male Korean pop group. We've done a couple of their albums before. Map of the Soul, Persona, I remember too. This is, I think, a little more. While BTS is a lot of like rapping and vocals, this is a little bit of rapping, but less skilled in that, more with like the singing. They all have pretty good singing.
They all have really good voices.
Worked well together. That
it's more, and this is more like straight pop into a lot of their songs and stuff.
Absolutely, almost painfully pop music.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's some of the songs are decent. The two features are Ice Cream, Selena Gomez, which I did hear before because that song kind of just blew up. It's like your typical pop song. Selena's part's alright in it. The production isn't wowing. It's, you know, kind of your bread and butter pop, or as Caesar's favorite thing, meat and potatoes for pop. After that, you have one with Cardi B, which is Bet You Wanna. Those are your only two features on. The rest of them is just them and the production, and and then there's only a couple songs that are in English, like How You Like That Ice Cream, Bet You Wanna are pretty much the only ones that are fully in English, and then other songs are like half in Korean, half in English. Their English is very, very good. They don't have any accent when they do it at all, which is interesting because when BTS do some songs in English, you could definitely hear their accents over it, so sometimes it's a little hard to understand and whatnot. So it's interesting with some groups that do it both in their languages, and Yeonji does that too as well, which we'll get into his album later. So it's interesting to hear when artists try to do it in two different languages, especially when it's so different from like Korean to English, because English is hard as fuck and it doesn't make sense. So I always give people props when it's their second language, especially when they're doing songs to it. Yes. So I'll give them props.
It's great that you're giving props there, because my criticism is that like of the English songwriting that they did, even for pop, it's very
it's just bland. Yeah, exactly.
And like I'm trying to give the like translation pass thing, but like some of the bars are like okay, like nothing's like the best rapping or like rhyming or bars on here are done, of course, by Cardi B.
But there really wasn't that much of her. That was my one gripe with the song, was her parts were good, but I wish there was more of her on it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of vibe with this album, and a lot of the other releases that I do like from a lot of the K-pop groups is that when they do releases, they tend to be smaller, they get very much to the point, because I kind of understand, hey, this is pop, and a lot of pop, especially in an album, especially at the rate and clip at which we release it, can get kind of annoying. So here's a shorter package, and I didn't find myself I was looking at going like, okay, it's like near the last song. It was. And that's like a good mix of like, okay, this is about the time I want it to be over, because I like get the gist of it already.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a good choice.
Yeah, that's my thing too. I'm glad that it shortened it up, because it's definitely tolerable. It's okay. It's your standard pop. This is the most poppy album I've listened to this year by far, where it's just like, it's not going to turn heads really. It's not going to break boundaries and whatnot. It's decent pop that it's going to, you know, people are going to enjoy it for the most part. So
yeah, the songs are fine. It's just I will say, as far as like there's different aspects of it of the way the instrumentation of the album and the production of the album.
The production is really like, clean and crisp, naturally.
Yeah, other than being like boring and very poppy, it's clean and crisp. The thing that I think is really interesting, and Love to Hate Me, there's a bit where it's sort of playing around with all of the elements of your standard like hypey-typey EDM song, but like everything's just super slowed down and used very sparingly, so you can actually deconstruct those bits and turn into a standard sort of pop song. But all of like the sort of like kicks and snares that I would usually expect from like EDC or something are prevalent in different parts of this album, which kind of goes to show how much EDM has proliferated through pop music in general. It's a very standard pop album, but I think that was an interesting note there that I've noticed a little bit in K-pop especially, but it worked well here because those are the songs where the singers are able to really shine, and they do have really good voices. arbitrary scale. Fuck. The arbitrary scale picked this week, and I'm not going to get anyone in legal trouble by saying who picked it, is Ghanaian pallbearers, the meme from earlier this year that became a little bit too on the nose once people started catching COVID and dying across the country, but then kind of came all the way back around when the people who were saying that COVID was a hoax and not to worry about it, all of a sudden started catching COVID within the course of like 1 weekend.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
these pallbearers are returning. They purely work in the realm of karma. So those who did not deserve it, does not apply to you, but those who, like Chris Christie, who said that there are going to be deaths, but we should reopen anyways, who has now caught COVID-19. Okay, so the arbitrary scale this week, I don't know how we unitize these. I guess more is, in the case of karma, better.
More is better for sure. Basically, the limit is like 10, I guess, or like 12. I don't know how many pallbearers you can have on how big of your coffin.
Oh, yeah,
is, so.
pallbearers on one casket, right?
Yeah.
And I guess you can't have two bodies. I mean, if you don't have an open casket funeral. Okay. BLACKPINK is solid.
Like, I'm saying it's like 4 full pallbearers. Like you got 2.
But they're dancing, so there's 6. Because you need a little bit, when you're dancing, you need a little bit more people to support the casket. So let's say 6. 5.
Yeah, that's fine.
5.
2 on each side, 1 on top.
1 on top breakdance.
1 on top breakdance, exactly.
Yeah.
So fine, that's fine. It's fair. Fair play.
Filmed in like a green screen room by YG Entertainment.